After waiting for several years, the public outcry for a proper new dinosaur zoo was heard. The earlier created dinosaur zoo and safari park that were built on several islands in Central America had impressed a lot of audience members around the world, but this time, the park would come to the people themselves. On various continents around the globe, people will be able to enjoy the experience of seeing dinosaurs for the first time, and the first country to have a park built in their backyard would be beautiful Canada. Not only would this park be state-of-the-art, including all new attractions, but of course, and arguably the most important bit, new, never-before-seen dinosaurs and creatures. This time there would be aquatic animals, more flying dinosaurs, and of course also a few new ground species. The scientists promised that they had altered the behavior of existing dinosaurs as well to make them feel more alive than ever before, even though one might have already laid eyes upon them. It would take a while to build up this park, but in the end, Canada would have its very own Jurassic Park. For the location of the zoo, a beautiful spot was selected near a giant lake that looked towards the tall, awe-inspiring mountains. Despite the cold, it had a cozy feeling, and the park's benefactors thought it would be a fan favorite to come here during the holiday season. First, the arrival point was created, which this time was only via flying. Currently, it was only a small landing pad, but later on, more landing strips would be added to accommodate for more visitors. Those people who were inside the park at the moment were potential staff members that were selected for their qualities. Anyone from high-ranking scientists to the cleaning or catering needed to go through a vigorous checkup to assure the company that they were qualified and motivated for the job. Once the initial introduction zone had been established and various staff members had been screened and hired, it was time to expand. The first few restaurants and shops were being built along the small boulevard leading towards the lake. For the first restaurant, it was decided to stick to sushi, luxurious and expensive, but the first of the visitors would be the elite and benefactors anyway, so that fitted within that program. Down the line, more standard and affordable restaurants would be added to the mix. Those who were invited to test the facilities and food were impressed by the location and view, but of course in due time it would be sprawling with enclosures and dinosaurs. They definitely could not enjoy peace and quiet though, for the building always continued. Much like with the previous parks, a release enclosure was being built where the dinosaurs would be brought in and checked up on before being released in the park. Now in order to get these dinosaurs to the park, scientists needed to be brought over, and various had signed up with a multitude of attributes. They would stay in their own staff center, which had spared no expense and kind of felt like a luxurious campus with all the needs one could think of. And then it was time to decide upon what the first dinosaur would be that was going to be introduced. In the very first Jurassic Park made 3 years ago, the one that unfortunately got destroyed after the dinosaurs went wild, the initial dinosaur that was being brought in was the Struthiomimus. And to keep tradition in check, they decided to bring this jittery creature to Canada first as well. Multiple of these dinosaurs were unleashed at once. It was a sight that was definitely a lot more enjoyable than seeing the dinosaurs come out of the gate one by one. The Struthiomimus were eager to get out there and explore their new living area. The holding enclosure was quite large to compensate with dinosaurs of all kinds and was incredibly spacious to such a tiny creature as these. The only thing, of course, that the park still had to deal with was the fact they had to move the dinosaurs from the holding zone to the actual enclosure within the zoo. This time, however, they would not use park rangers in jeeps any longer, but only those in the helicopters. This was done for safety regulations for both the rangers and also the dinosaurs. The Struthiomimus were all collected and moved to their new enclosure, which was quite the endeavor, seeing as how many helicopters were occupying the airspace within quite a small area. But once they were set down in their new zone, they seemed immediately at ease. Sure, they would run around a bit skittish, but these were just jittery animals in general. The good thing about this new zone was that it had a lot more varied vegetation, including a lot of the types that the Struthiomimus loved to eat. The park had promised to provide all herbivores in the park from now on with the actual flora that they enjoyed eating, rather than have the feeders used in previous parks. By doing this, the visitors could actually see the herbivores in a more natural environment as they would graze along the entirety of the enclosure. And so the Struthiomimus fell in place within the park with quite some ease, but it wasn't a picky dinosaur at all for that matter. And thus, to spice things up, it was then finally time to introduce the audience and the world to a new dinosaur to this park that had not been in any of the other dinosaur parks before. The Cryolophosaurus would be added, and this majestic looking predator would surely be the talk of the town. It was quite unique for a prehistoric park to receive a rather large predator so quickly. Usually, the more awe-inspiring predators would be left for later dates. But the park's benefactors really wanted the world to see something new and spectacular, and they had succeeded with these great animals. These powerful carnivores were fierce hunters that were very effective in killing their prey. Not only due to their strong, muscled legs and powerful jaws, but their long arms were able to grab hold of tiny creatures to deliver the final blow. In that sense, it was far more dangerous than something big like a T-Rex that only had its bite to count on. But of course, chances were higher to survive the bite of a cryo in that sense. The Cryolophosaurus was a medium-sized predator, and it was not uncommon for it to hunt in a small pack. The remarkable crest on its head was used for both mating rituals and communication with their own pack, and this visual point made them look so unique. In a way, the crest made these dinosaurs seem quite royal or stout. But there were others who believed it looked like a pompadour, and thus it got the nickname Alphosaurus by some. In fact, one of the three cryos, the Alpha, was named Alphys by the zoo itself, and now they needed two names for the other two Cryolophosaurus. They wanted to get the help of the viewers, meaning you right there who is watching this live feed. Please come up with some names for these two other Cryolophosaurus in the comments down below. They are a boy and a girl, so all names can be suggested. They can be normal names, cool names, or funny ones as well. In the next episode, the park will reveal which names were selected and what the other two cryos will be known as from now on. Later on we will do this with other dinosaurs as well. Now the Cryolophosaurus made a bit of a panicked state when they first arrived at their zone, which was pretty huge, but it did not take long before they came to their senses. Surprisingly, the dinosaurs seemed to be a bit sheepish sometimes and would often be seen napping during the day. It would happen now and again where they would pull off a sprint to capture and devour one of the goats, but in all honesty, these three predators kinda made a bit of a sluggish and lazy impression. But of course, it could also be that they were very content and just wanted to relax all day long, as they knew they were both safe and had food provided for them to where they would not grow hungry. And thus the world could enjoy a brand new dinosaur, and everyone loved it. They were very cool looking and had people speculating about what other new types would be introduced. Of course, many were very excited to see the aquatic creatures, but they still had to hold out just a little bit. For the next dinosaur that would be added was a humble one, and a particular type that was overlooked by many. It was very cute and the tiniest creature in all of the park, but nevertheless very lethal if found in large groups. Of course, we were talking about the compies. Lots and lots of compies.